So, if you're a founder, you know the feeling, right? That constant nagging pressure to just move faster. But here's a question. What if all that speed, all that rushing around, isn't actually moving you forward? Today, we're going to dig into the huge difference between just being busy and making real progress, and why finding the right pace is the real key to building an empire that actually lasts. All right, let's break this down right away. On one side, you've got fast movement. And let's be honest, that usually just feels like anxiety. On the other side, you've got forward momentum that's driven by clarity. Now, from the outside, they might look exactly the same, but on the inside, they are completely different worlds. One is a recipe for burnout, the other is how you build something incredible. And really, this is the heart of the whole problem. There's this myth in the startup world that speed is everything. It's the only gear you have. You know the one. Move fast, break things, hustle harder than everyone else. But this way of thinking is so dangerous because it confuses activity with actual achievement. It creates this illusion that you're making progress when you might just be spinning your wheels. And that illusion, it comes with a very, very real cost. It's something we're calling the hidden hurry tax. Think of it as this invisible price you pay every single time you rush. And trust me, it's sabotaging way more of your work than you even realize. So, what is this tax exactly? Well, it's all that invisible friction. It's the tension you feel in your shoulders when you're staring at your screen. It's the dumb little mistakes that you have to go back and fix later. It's that mental fog that just clouds your best judgment. All of it is a direct result of moving at a pace you just can't sustain. It's literally a tax on your energy, your focus, and yeah, your results. So how do you know if you're paying this tax? Well, the symptoms are probably going to sound a little too familiar. Your work feels like it's creating more tension than it is actual results. That constant need for speed, it's really just a mask for some underlying anxiety. Your thinking gets fuzzy, you start making more and more simple mistakes, and you end the day feeling totally wiped out, but when you look back, you can't even point to what you really accomplished. Sound about right? Okay, the good news is there is a super powerful antidote to this, but it has nothing to do with working harder. It's about making a high-performance shift. We call it the tactical pause. And listen, this isn't about being weak or falling behind. It's actually one of the smartest, most strategic moves you can possibly make. We've all been there. It's that week where everything feels like it's on fire. You're jumping from task to task every 10 minutes, just putting out flames in a blur of frantic energy. But when Friday finally rolls around, you look back and realize nothing important actually got finished. You were just busy, not productive. And then comes the move that feels completely wrong. Instead of flooring the accelerator, you slam on the brakes. You just pause. You intentionally ignore that screaming to-do list for a second. You pick one thing that actually matters, and you give it all of your attention. That right there, that's the tactical pause in action. And here's where the magic happens. The output didn't drop. The important work still got done. The only thing that disappeared was the hurry tax. All that frantic, anxious energy was replaced by this calm, deliberate focus. And suddenly, the work felt sustainable again. This is the key insight right here. The tactical pause is not about producing less. It's about massively increasing the quality of your input, which is your focus. See, when you work deliberately, you engage on a much deeper level. And that means higher quality work, smarter decisions, and better outcomes. Okay, so the tactical pause is a game changer for you personally. But how do we take this idea and scale it across the entire business? Well, that's where we go from a personal tactic to a full-blown strategy by what we call mapping your delivery skeleton. This is the absolute core structure of how your business creates and delivers value. Just think about it like this. There is no way an architect can check the blueprints for a skyscraper while they're sprinting through the chaotic construction site. It's impossible. You have to stop. That tactical pause gives you the space and the clarity to step back and make sure the very bones of your business, your processes, your team structure are actually sound. So this architect's process is really just the tactical pause applied strategically. First, you give yourself permission to slow the heck down. That's step one. Then you start mapping the structural joints. You ask the real questions. Is our sales process really connected to our onboarding? Is marketing data actually flowing to the product team? Are we sure our engineers and product managers are aligned? You test all those connections. And only then, when you know the structure is solid, do you build with real intention. And this all leads to a fundamental choice that every single founder has to make. Are you building your company on a foundation of anxious speed, or are you taking the time to architect a sustainable empire?
The pace you set today literally determines the future of everything you're building.
I mean, the contrast here could not be more stark. The anxious foundation is built on rushing, which just creates friction and leads to burnout, and that constant feeling of being unsatisfied. But the sustainable foundation, that's built on clarity, on intention, and this leads to results that compound over time, and it allows you to actually be present in your work.
And that is the absolute magic of the sustainable approach. It's like compound interest for your business. Small, consistent, high-quality efforts build on each other, creating these exponential results down the line. Rushing just gives you linear returns, and usually they're diminishing. Deliberate work, on the other hand, gives you compounding power. So we've diagnosed the problem, the hurry tax, and we've talked about the solution, the tactical pause, and becoming an architect. So now what? What's the next step? How do you actually make this shift from chaotic founder to deliberate architect? It really is the most important question, isn't it? Because how do you go from knowing this is the right way to operate to actually doing it day in and day out? How do you build the systems and the mindset you need to truly become the architect of a pace that fuels you instead of one that drains you? You see, architecting your pace isn't just about changing your mindset. You need a system to support it. And that's exactly why we built 365 Freedom. It's a framework designed to help you put these ideas into practice, to move out of the chaos of the hurry tax and into the clarity of being an architect, creating that truly sustainable pace we've been talking about. But look, you don't have to change everything tomorrow. This all starts with one small, deliberate action. So here's your takeaway for today. Give yourself permission. Just for today, pick one single thing on your list and do it without rushing. Notice how it feels. Notice the clarity. That feeling right there, that's your first step on the path to building an empire that will actually stand the test of time.